The SAGA project stands for Simple API for Grid Applications. This is a project that's been in the making for 3 to 4 years, and it's only now, with it becoming an OGF approved standard, that we are getting uptake all over the world in various grid infrastructure projects, national and international. Ultimately, the aim of the SAGA project is to facilitate uniform access to distributed heterogeneous cyber infrastructure. And this is at least at 3 levels. The first is as a uniform access layer. The second is for distributed applications that want to directly access these infrastructures to be able to programmatically get simple and standardized access. The third approach, and this is an approach that is increasing in importance and uptake, is the development of tools, services, and higher level abstractions, which in turn use SAGA to access these distributed infrastructures. For example, more and more science gateways are using SAGA to access these infrastructures for entire communities. So these are the 3 main approaches that SAGA is being used. In addition, I think there are many new programming models that are being tested and experimented with using SAGA. The ultimate aim of the SAGA project is to make distributed computing simple, easy, and reliable and robust. We have a distributed development model, we have a distributed funding model. We get some money from the European Union, some money from Britain, some money from NSF and others in the United States. And collectively, we, as an open source project, are able to meet our specific requirements as well as broader community requirements, which are, let's say, more long-term and part of a longer roadmap. It is a well-known fact that EGI is the largest, probably the most important grid infrastructure, open source grid infrastructure in the world. So being able to work with EGI is not only very important for us in terms of advancing science, impactful, great, cutting-edge science, but it's also a great way for us to stay involved with the grid community. This Memorandum of Understanding is a very important step for us as a project. As I said, it's been years in the making. And what it helps us to do is to be closely coupled with EGI, EGI's policy, decision, and technical roadmap, so that we can align ourselves with the requirements of the EGI science and technology communities. We've been using Grid Observatory for development of a large number of autonomic scientific applications. So the Grid Observatory, to just put this in context, is a great tool, partly funded by, I think mostly funded by the European Union, and it gives us the traces of dynamical application of the history of applications. Now what we do is we use these traces to try to develop adaptive autonomic applications which can change based upon the changing resource availability, changing application requirements, and adapt in the best autonomic way to future requirements. Now, the fact that Grid Observatory acquires this data, makes it available to us in a very generic fashion, and gives us access to data probably over more resources than any other resource could, is immensely powerful for us. And if you go back to the autonomic concept of monitoring, analyzing, planning, and execution, this is all the planning. This enables us to do the planning for effective execution.